Hello and welcome to this Analyzing and Visualizing Data with Power BI online course. My name is Philippos and I'm one of the program mentors on the Power BI team. Now, in the previous sessions, we've already seen how we need to work with Power BI, what are the various components of Power BI. We've also seen the licensing options. We've also looked at the architectural components of Power BI and how the data flows between one module to another module in Power BI, right? So today we're going to quickly get started to do a small quick demo or a quick tour of creating a simple report in Power BI. Where we are going to upload some data from an Excel financial sheet, that is a financial data sample, which is shared by Microsoft for us to use. And we'll also see how to create, these visuals that you can see on my screen over here, right? And I'll show you how you can also publish this report, that is the .pbix file, onto the cloud, that is onto the Power BI online service. And we'll also see from there on how we can actually pin certain reports only or certain visuals that you see on the report to the dashboard, right? So let's get started. Now, as you can see, this is a report which we are going to create. Here we have some KPIs. For example, we have units sold, the total units sold, the total sales, the gross sales, and the profit. And you can also see that there is a columnar chart here which shows us the sales broken up by segment. And we have the profit also by country. So this is one tab, right? Like how in Excel you have tabs or worksheets, right, within a workbook. Similarly, in a Power BI report, you will see the interface of this particular screen shows you that you have a tab here. The first tab or the first page is called as profit analysis, which we can rename. And there is also another page which is gross profit analysis. This you can create as many as worksheets in Excel, right? So in a similar manner, we can also create as many as pages, okay, in a Power BI report. All right, so let's get started. Now I have a blank Power BI desktop started out over here, and you can see that typically when you want to work with Power BI desktop, actually there's no need to sign in. As you can see, I've already signed in, but there is really no need to sign in. You don't need any sign in or any credentials if you want to just create a Power BI .pbix file locally on a machine, right? So now what we're going to do is quickly I'm going to upload the financial Excel file. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get data. It's already on the desktop. It's connecting. So it's always going to create a connection string or a connection object to the underlying data source. And the data source here is the Excel sheet. Typically, you will see here that it opens up a navigator and it's going to show us all the objects in the Excel workbook. And it shows us the sheet object, and it also shows us the financials mean Excel workbook object. So if there are many sheets, then you can either connect to a particular sheet inside the workbook, or you may typically want to directly connect to the Excel workbook, right? So let's click on the workbook object, and you will see that it quickly pulls up a preview for us. And in this preview, you can see that we have segment-wise, country-wise, product-wise. So there are a lot of dimensions, a lot of categories, and there are also some measures which are already being calculated, and it's already quite transformed. Okay, so the data set is already very transformed, and we don't really need to do a lot of transformation on this data as of now. So I'm not going to use transform data here. Of course, transform data is something where we can use Power Query inside Power BI to do some more transformations over this data before you would want to create some visualizations. We'll look at transformations and shaping of data maybe in the next sessions from now. However, today we are not going to do any transformations. I'm quickly going to load the data into Power BI. Now, if there are some previous, because I've been creating a couple of reports, if there's some previous changes already pending, it might just give you a warning here. So we're just going to ignore this. Okay, so let's get started now. It's already loaded and you can see that there are a couple of panes over here. Now, this particular work, this area, this white area is called as the report area. We also have the data area and we also have the model area. So we're going to look at each of them. Uh, the report area, okay, is the area where we are going to draw some visualization. So quickly, I'm just going to drag the sales. This is a field list. So like as in an Excel, we have the pivot table and you have fields to analyze. Similarly here, you can see the fields. And you will see that the numerical values here are shown as a summation. Right? And this is true with Power BI because it immediately gives us a differentiation between categorization of data, fields which are categorized and fields which can be measured, right? Okay, so I have sales and I'm going to break this down by segment. Okay. And the best way to do this, okay, is you can just drag the fields and the visualization by default. You'll see the visualization here is of type clustered column chart. Right? You can also change this visualization by just clicking on any other visual. So I'm going to go back to the normal clustered column chart, and any chart, if we have to format the chart a bit more further, we can use this format painter and you can search for the properties of that particular visual. So for example, if you want to maybe increase the size of a particular text or you want to change the data colors, you can just type, okay, here you can say text, right? So maybe it'll just go ahead and it'll give you the information, you know, with respect to, okay, do we want to increase or decrease the point size, right? Something like this. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to leave it as it is. And I'm going to look at data labels, right? So data labels right now, I already have it here. I'm just going to turn this on. Now, the next visual that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a chart, okay? Another chart, which is going to show me the map, right? So this is really awesome because the moment I create a tree map, this is a new visual, which we also have in Excel or new versions right now. However, in Power BI as well, these visuals have been there right from the first version of Power BI. I'm going to break this down, okay, from sales. So I'm going to take sales. Oops. So I'm going to take sales and I'm also going to take the country. Okay. And as you can see, this categorization also helps because it kind of helps us spread, okay, the area chart. That is, it actually spreads the country as in an area chart does, okay. But this is a slightly different categorization of how the map can be seen. It's typically a tree map, right? Okay, now looking at these visuals, for each visuals, as I said, that if you wanted to work with respect to the properties of the visuals, we would go into the data colors or we would turn the data labels on. And immediately you can see that, you know, it's in Excel, we do not see this interaction. We have to connect the visuals using slicers, right? But here, there is no need to connect any visual to each other because by default, there's an interaction between the visuals. If I just wanted to concentrate on government sector, I can see that if I click on government, I'm also seeing the tree map, okay, which is being filtered automatically or sliced and diced accordingly with respect to the segment government, right? If I wanted to again drill down, okay, that is if I wanted to look at Germany only, I could still go ahead and look at Germany and it's going to give me the segregation of Germany across the other chart, right? So there is by default cross filtration amongst all the visuals that you see. Now, each of these tiles here is a visual, and this is a page by default, which we can, you know, give it a name, like we can say sales analysis, right? I'm going to quickly create another tab here. And on this one, I'm going to create some visual cards. Okay, so I'm going to create a multi-row card. And here I'm going to put some measures like sales, units. So total sales, total units, total cost of goods sold, the total profit. Okay, so this is what I want to see. And quickly, I'm just going to format this one. So I'm going to turn on, I'm just going to increase the size. And maybe we could just change the text color, right? So we can put the title on, right? It looks a little more bold like this, right? And or we can also change the color. So let's look at changing the color of the labels. So let's say if I want to, use blue, I could use blue, or I think green should be a better color here. We can always go to custom color and change it to some other color of our choice. So, but as of now, I'm just going to keep it black because I kind of like this look and feel, right? And in fact, there's another suggestion which I would recommend is from the new versions of Power BI, which was not there earlier. We could just go to view and we could select a theme as well. So rather than actually going into all of these formats here, we could also select a theme. Okay, so this really looks good. And then create your visuals after you insert a theme, right? So because then your visuals are going to take over the color based on the custom theme or the inbuilt theme that you use. Let's look at changing the color here now. So I'm just going to change the color background for the text to green. Okay, so this is what I wanted. All right, and now let's look at some other charts. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make it look like this. Okay, so we're going to have gross sales by segment and gross sales by country. So let's see how we can do that one. So here I'm quickly going to take a map. So we're going to take this map, right? And we're going to break this down by gross sales country wise. Okay, and I'm also going to take an other chart. So this is going to be a bar chart now. So let's take a bar chart. And on this bar chart, I'm going to again take the gross sales, okay, by segment. Okay, so this is what we have. Now we can place this, and of course we can, as you've already seen how to format the visuals, we're not going to deep dive right now into looking at a tour of all the visuals. I'm just going to take you through a overview, okay, of how we create visuals, how we can format different visuals, and of course we have to do a lot of testing with respect to which is going to be the best visual, or to be displayed over a dashboard based on our data, right? So we're going to do all of that R&D a little bit later. All right. However, for now, I have created 2 pages, and I'm going to name this page as gross analysis. And I'm going to publish this. I'm going to publish this report. Okay, so let's quickly see how we can do that. Now, typically, before we publish the report, we'll have to save this locally. So we're going to do a save as. So let's give it a name. So we'll say trial A demo, something like that, and save it. Now, till here, what happens is it's okay if you do not have a sign-in, okay? But the moment you save, and this is going to be saved locally as a PBIX file, right? So this is going to be saved locally on my machine as a PBIX file. And now when I go to publish this dashboard, so I'm going to go to the home tab, and there's a publish option where we can publish to a particular workspace. Now you can have many workspaces of your choice, but I have just created, this is the default workspace that you would typically get when you start Power BI for the first time. And when you're using the Power BI for the first time, this is your local workspace, okay, over the cloud service, right? So typically when you take a Power BI license later on, you can also create your own app workspaces, and you can collaborate and create a team of users who can access reports which are published only on a particular app workspace, or your own workspace. This is a local workspace but on the Power BI service. So from here on, when you click on select, now I have already signed in, okay, but so let's say if you wouldn't have signed in, before you could publish to the service, if it would have asked you, or it would have given you a small button, okay, to sign in. And your sign in typically has to be, your sign in always has to be actually, okay, any other account, any other domain account or an email account, but not Gmail or Yahoo or Rediff or any of these mail accounts, but typically your corporate account. Okay, so let's click on open the trial demo. And this is where you will see, now it goes to the browser, right? And when we say Power BI online, it actually takes us to a space called as app.powerbi.com. Okay, so app.powerbi.com is the space which is locally created for us. Okay, typically when we create or when we buy a Microsoft 365 license, right? So this is where my report gets published, right? Now remember, this is still in the report form. Okay, this is not a dashboard. Now there's a difference between a report and a dashboard. Okay, so what is a report? A report is typically a PBIX file which is created out of either one data set or maybe multiple data sources. So right now we have just taken, we've just taken one Excel file, but let's say tomorrow we may have some data in a text file, or we may have some data in MS Access. We could obviously take all of this data together, shape it, transform it, and then create these visuals and then publish it to get more insights on that data, right? So definitely we can do all of that, which we're going to see in the following sessions. However, right now, as you can see, that I have come to an interface where it shows me my workspace on the Power BI cloud, right? And the name of the report. Now, as you can see, the entire report, that is, I have file and I can save this, I can print, I can publish to the web, I can export to PowerPoint, I can export to PDF. You're not going to see all of these options right now, but we'll see it in a bit later. Okay, so I can refresh the report from here if I'm loading more data into Power BI. But what I can typically do here is I can pin this to a live page. Now, there are two pages, right? So if you look at this report, let's go back to home. So you'll see it, this is my dashboard, okay, where I have lots of reports from other sources where I have created earlier. So I can traverse, so I can navigate to any other report, or I can, just go back to the same report which I have right now, last accessed a minute ago. This is the one. Now, if I wanted to move from one page to another page, you can see the two pages here, right? Right? This is not my dashboard, right? What is a dashboard? A dashboard is a combination of visuals, not only from one report, but from multiple reports. Okay, so I'm going to show you that right now. What we can do is we can publish this particular page or pin it to a live page or to a live dashboard. A dashboard typically, why is it so that, it is so because every team actually can create their own reports and they can publish it to this online cloud space, which is my app.powerbi.com, right? Now, if you have permissions, that is, if other report members have permissions to see your data, then they can, what you can do is you can pin some visuals from here onto a common dashboard, which is an organizational overview, right? And even the other departments or the other domains can pin their visuals from their individual reports onto the same dashboard at the organizational level, right? So a dashboard typically is a combination of visuals from different reports, or from different data sources, right? So what we're going to see right now is we're just going to look at how to pin this data. And I already have a dashboard called as Financials 1, and I have other dashboards as well. So let's go to GPA analysis dashboard, pin live, go to dashboard. So this is my page here. Okay, so as you can see that it has only pinned the second page, that is a gross segment sales, right? And you can see over here that there are some other visuals also which I have actually imported in the past earlier. So you can see this is from trial A demo report, and this is trial 1 report. And what I can do over here is I can ask questions about my data. Okay, so this is something like Q&A. And you can see that I want to know, let's say, how many products are there. You can say 6. Or let's say I would want to create another visual based on show financials and gross sales. Okay, so I can take this table as well and I can pin it. Can you see? I can, any visual that I create even out of Q&A. So let's say sort financials by clog, something like this. Okay, so I can pin this visual as well, or this simple table, to the GP analysis dashboard, or maybe to some other dashboard, right? Okay, so let's pin it, go to dashboard, and now you can see that you will also have the table pinned here. Now there are a couple of things that you can also do with respect to one visual on this dashboard, but as of now, my intention here today on this video was to show you how we can create visuals from one single Excel file using the Power BI dashboard, that is a local desktop version of Power BI, and how we can publish this data onto the cloud, that is onto the apps workspace, that is app.powerbi.com. And further to that, we can go one more step further by taking all of these reports and pinning it up, okay, to one dashboard, right? So I hope that you have liked this session. If there are any more queries and any questions, you can please feel free to ask me. As of now, we are going to end this session and this video here. So I'll see you tomorrow again, okay, with respect to the other session. We're going to look at how to transform and shape data with Power BI. Thank you so much for now. Have a nice day.